In this video I will show you how to make a round oak tabletop. The resulting round board has a diameter of 51 inches and thickness of 1.2 inch. You are going to see that just before the edge was finished, I really screwed up. Let's get into it. First, if you cannot make a glue up yourself, you can buy ready-made oak boards that you can glue together to the desired size. I saved myself the work by gluing two large oak boards measuring 51 by 26 inches, which I glued together using biscuits. Biscuits increase the strength of the joint and guarantee a perfect fit. I do not skimp on the glue, which I apply to both glued surfaces. After thoroughly spreading the glue, I inserted the biscuits and pressed the two glued boards together with clamps. One board, now the second one, and press it together. Now let's get the clamps. If your clamps are too short, you can use two clamps opposite each other and extend the range of the clamp. It is advisable to attach the clamps both from below and above, because this equalizes the pressure on the board so it remains in a horizontal plane. Here I am using some weight to make sure everything stays perfectly flat. Now I am checking the flatness with water level. I made a jig for circular machining with a router. I didn't want to screw the pivot onto the board itself, so I used double-sided tape instead. I removed the plastic bottom base from the router. I'm attaching the router to the MDF jig with the original 4 screws. This way I can set the length of the arm perfectly to match my desired diameter. I use a thin standard router bit for the cutout, and after each pass I increase the depth and deepen the groove. After each pass, it's a good idea to vacuum the sawdust. The height of the router bit is not enough for the entire thickness, so I have to cut the rest with a jigsaw. While cutting with the jigsaw, I make sure to drive on the outside of the groove. I don't go too fast, because it's oak. I prefer to go slower. I gradually cut off the individual corners, and now I'm left with a nice round cake. Now I can remove the center pivot. I will not need it anymore. Now let's sort out the edge. As you can see, there is a step there. I will use a router bit tall enough to straighten the edge. Here is a bit with 4 knives, which will do this job perfectly. And now very unpleasant thing will happen. I didn't pay attention to the direction of the wood fibers, and the router bit tore off a piece of wood. Oh shit. Fortunately, this can be repaired by gluing. Now I need to round the top edge and sand the bottom edge with some sandpaper. Once the edge is sorted, I can sand the entire board on both sides. Let's start with a coarser sandpaper and gradually work it out to beautifully smooth surface. Once finished, I wipe the surface with a damp cloth, which will straighten the grain again, and then I can sand it for the very last time. And here we are. The desk is finished, ready to be mounted on some table legs.